Welcome to the third game of the evening. It's Habitation Station, spawning to the top left-hand side in purple, playing Protoss for LDLC and France. It's Miyako. And to the top right-hand corner in blue, playing Protoss for She's Got the Lane and Chile. It's Piscolita. Both planting down their first pylons. Oh my god, pylons. Pylons. Need additional pylons. Okay, so we have Gateway and Assimilator incoming from Miyako. We have Gateway and Vespene Geyser in Assimilator, not Vespene Geyser. Assimilator incoming for Piscolita. Just a little bit later here. So small edge here already for our French Protoss. Passing the watchtower, and just wants to get a good scout off. And this time it's the pylon that's not really showing up. So, another pylon right and back of the mirror line. Always want to have something in order to be able to fend off pesky oracles that might fly into your main base. So another gateway here, followed by a cybernetics core, so it seems as if Miyako really wants to go into some early pressure, probably using stalkers here, or she just knows or just feels what her opponent is doing and just wants to counter a possible gateway heavy adept play here. I think if Miyako really followed the games of Piscolita, she knows that Piscolita actually likes to go stalker heavy, so she might have prepared accordingly. We'll see. Piscolita and Miyako actually have faced off against each other quite often in the past, not only in the FSL but also in old ESL female tournaments. Back then, of course, Miyako always used to play Terran, but yeah, these both players know each other and faced each other quite often. Ooh, interesting here. Both players actually going for adapts. Something that could have been kinda expected, but could have also been stalker heavy play. I mean, Miyako and Piscolita sure both have the gas for it, but it seems as if they just want to keep some resources back to expand a little bit earlier here. So, Gateway already being chrono boosted for Piscolita here, also getting another pylon out for defensive reason, but of course also to power buildings and get more supply. The pylon, very important building for Protoss, just filling so many purposes. Okay, and there we have the first adept just being intercepted by Miyako's adepts already. Woo, the first one already dying even. And now with a little bit of good micro, Miyako should even be able to just kill off the other one as well. Wow, already a big lead now here for Miyako, who just wants to take her second base right behind it. And now Piscolita has switched into stalkers, so it seems as if Miyako will just have to retreat right away, just threatens to shade into the main base, and if Piscolita actually follows any longer, she might just let the shade finish. Unfortunately for Miyako, she had to shade right in front of that photon overcharge here. Can only get, no, actually I think she didn't even get one worker kill there, maybe one. Couldn't really see it because I was just still having a look at this pylon over here. So in the meantime we have the two stalkers just moving out for Piscolita, trying to put some pressure back onto Miyako here. Miyako has stalkers, but they are still in the middle line expecting an oracle to maybe fly in, but no, of course she has to move them away. Can also just figure out that her opponent won't really have an oracle ready if she sends two stalkers across the map and has also just lost two of these adepts before that. So Stalker now has to move away. Piscolita even loses one Stalker by only getting one probe in Miyako's natural base. So again, another trade that was way better for her opponent. So if we just have a look at the units lost tab, we see that Miyako already has gained a little advantage here, going into the robotics facility and the Twilight Council at the same time. So yeah, Twilight Council will probably also be for Blink, since we've seen her already go quite stalker heavy. Same for Piscolita, like I said before, Piscolita enjoys to play stalker heavy. She just likes to do that. So we will probably just see another Stalker-based army once more. Really curious how Miyako actually wants to answer that. I mean, mostly she already has a robotics facility out, so after this first observer, I think we will see some immortals out of it. Blink also on the way. Maybe she just wants to switch into disruptors later on. There's actually another observer going out, so it seems as if Miyako just wants to have good map vision here. Moves out again once more, but the Stalker forces of Piscolita are ready as well. Same Stalker count, so both players not having blink yet. Miyako retreats for now and just warps in a few more Stalkers at home in order to protect her mineral line a little bit better. So we see it's 32 workers to 36 for Piscolita here, so Piscolita actually a little bit in the lead, although Miyako managed to get her first base up a little bit earlier, so it seems as if Miyako was playing a little bit sloppily here with the macro and her worker count, because Piscolita actually didn't really kill off that much. So Warp Prism in production seems as if it might be just a full-out Stalker pressure with Blink, but of course your opponent will also have Blink and an Immortal out, so I don't really know if this is going to go into Miyako's favor here. Have to wait. I mean, she has to attack upwards that ramp. Maybe she will be able to just warp in. I mean, that's actually the good thing here. With the new Warp Prism range, there are actually teleporter or elevator plays possible, like moving up with the Stalkers up here, just placing the Warp Prism over here and then just load and unload from, or just placing the Warp Prism over here and then just load and unload right underneath it, where you can just get into the main base from several angles if you really want to. But there's the big force by Piscolita, just moving across the map as Miyako just tries to take a third base. A third base that I think her opponent is yet unaware, so she might actually be able to get through with it. Depends on how far this observer strays over here. Yeah, Piscolita does actually check for the third base and will find it, so Miyako will have to cancel it. Okay, just moves forward. Okay, Miyako just has to cancel the space. No problem though, it's just 100 minerals that got chewed up there anyways. So, Miyako now moving towards her main ramp. I think there's not a real chance for Piscolita to really engage. She could just kind of soft contain her opponent here by just taking this position outwards the natural ramp in order to keep her opponent from expanding for a little more while expanding at the gold base herself. I think that's just the best thing she can do, but she always has to be aware that at some point in time Miyako could just move down the ramp and try to kill her. Seems as if Piscolita still wants to force a small engagement here, maybe shaving off a few units with the help of force fields, and she did so quite nicely, but lost I think 1 unit in the process as well. Miyako again just tries to move out with a probe, tries to get another base down desperately, but Piscolita just sniffs it out immediately. Ooh, yeah, we'll probably just go down and kill this base once more, so another 100 minerals lost. Okay, just kills the probe over here. Yeah, just leaves one Stalker only behind. Okay, ooh, yeah, has to be careful. I mean, Miyako also has to be careful whenever she moves down. Her opponent has sentries in the mix, so she can always just force field off half of the army if Miyako is not careful, killing it off, and then of course the next incoming push will be even more difficult for Miyako to deal with. In the meantime, the base is almost done for her opponent. It seems as if there was a small little run by here, maybe a try with the Warp Prism to get inside. Can't really tell what was up, but there were 2 photon overcharges being fired up. So yeah, okay, there it is. The Warp Prism just trying to warp in more units. So yeah, okay, basically you're just trying to pass by the little actually, nice multi-pronged harassment here, just dealing some more damage inside the main base, while also attacking the front, so Miyako again just has to split up her forces. But yeah, that's just an easy task for her. She just lost, I think, 1 pylon over here. I think that wasn't a complete building, right? So in the meantime, we have a robotics bay done as well, so disruptors would be a possibility here. In the meantime, Piscolita just sets up to... Okay, finally Miyako just managed to get down her ramp at least and securing her third base over here. Yeah, Piscolita saw that this base was going down for quite... or has seen that this base was going down for quite some time, but she actually just didn't want to move away too far from the natural ramp in order to let her opponent the chance to move out, so she just stood there and never actually bothered to take down the third, although she could have easily done it. In the meantime, more harassment going on, but Miyako just blinks right behind the Warp Prism, kills it off with 3 more units remaining inside that Warp Prism. Good catch there once more. But yes, still, I mean, now finally both players have their third bases up, but Piscolita has the gold base, and she has had it for quite some time longer than her opponent. Could actually just easily take a fourth. I mean, have a look at the resources here. Piscolita just banking up like crazy. And now finally Miyako finds the time to get a Disruptor out, and will probably just try to seal the deal with this unit. Yeah, Piscolita, though having had her third base way longer than her opponent, and also having her opponent contained, still is behind in supply, so seems as if Miyako just made the best out of her imprisoned situation. Now even gets into a Dark Shrine, although she isn't really that far behind, but maybe she feels like it. And to have a Dark Shrine, I mean, having a Dark Shrine is just a necessity in PvP at some point in time. I mean, there's actually no reason not to get it. At least at around, yeah, usually 10 to 12 minutes is when you usually get your Dark Shrine, if you haven't gotten it earlier anyways for your opening. Okay, and now Miyako just moving out a really big force of Stalker with Disruptors in the mix as well. So yeah, Piscolita just realizes right away, I have to run for it. Can't really engage that huge big ass army right away. And she now that there's really a proper situation where you can't really tell where you want to fight it. I mean, you don't have your own Disruptors available, so you would normally just have to fight under usual circumstances where you want to get a bigger concave, but your opponent actually has the bigger army. So a bigger concave is not really good for you. Then maybe you would like to funnel your opponent into some sort of choke point where Immortals could just chew through most of these Stalkers over here. So in the meantime, we have a small little run by Piscolita just trying to deal some damage to the Zealots. Actually got some units over here, but Miyako just warped in a few units and cleared this off, no problem. There was the Warp Prism. Now she just moves inward. Yeah, but then again, the other problem. So you can't really fight in a concave because your opponent has superior amount of army units. But then you can also not fight in a choke point because then the Disruptors will just chew through you. So, what do you do now? I mean, fighting in the open field is not really an option. Fighting in a choke point is not really an option. That makes it really complicated to engage this army. And while Miyako just takes her sweet time waiting for more reinforcements to engage, and also just killing off the proxy pylon that Piscolita built while taking a fourth base of her own, same as Piscolita does. Yeah, she just gets the bigger and better tech army. I think the best thing that Piscolita could just do now would actually be getting, I think actually a lot of speedlots would be great against this army composition. Speedlots always good because they just chew through a lot of these units and keep them pinned back while the rest of your units just shoot from behind. Of course, with good Disruptor management, you can always still shoot at the important units. Okay, another warp in here. I think with the help of the Warp Prism from somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Piscolita just tries to deal some more damage towards that base. So the army actually in full retreat. Wow, Miyako actually returning completely in order to clear this off. Might even be able to get that Warp Prism with Blinker. Yeah, now she will definitely. Bam, bam, bam. And there it goes down. But of course, Piscolita has now, again, also already taken a fourth base. Economically, she should be ahead, but she isn't, because actually Miyako managed to just get more workers up already, and actually has the better situation, it seems, on those bases. So, another Warp Prism harassment over here. I really like what Piscolita is doing here, just trying to harass from multiple angles again and again, just really constantly, never giving up. And now the army of Miyako really is totally out of position, so these Zealots and maybe a big warp in could just deal tremendous amounts of damage here. But there's the big warp in by Miyako as well. So, ooh, might even be able to actually get that Warp Prism here. No, doesn't. So now she has to move back, and these Zealots actually have leg speed. So there's the big Disruptor shot. But yeah, that is what I was talking about. If you really want to kill Zealots with Disruptor shots, since they just move so closely into your own unit's range, you usually have to blow up a few of your own units when you want to hit them. So this is always a problematic thing. That's why Zealots are Speedlots are considered a halfway decent answer to Disruptors until you get better means of dealing with them. Of course, the best answer to them is having Disruptors yourself, and then we have the old yeah, avoid your opponent's purification novas while you just send out your own. And whoever does it better, or whoever just gets the first annihilating shot right into the face, will usually just lose the game. So let's see how this is going to work out. We have a huge big-ass army for Piscolita. We have a huge big-ass army for Miyako. But she has the disruptors and her opponent does not. But her opponent does have a frick ton of Archons. So let's see how this is actually going to work out. More harassment going on, but this time with Stalkers, maybe a little bit wasteful. And then we have the big engagement through a choke point, and bam, bam, bam! The big Purification Novas just kill off a lot of the Wartles and units over here, but the Archons also seem to have buffered some of that damage, so most of Piscolita's army is still intact, although she actually lost like 50 supply there in almost an instant here. Might actually be able to just walk down here and kill off the 4th base, which would be a big blow for Miyako. And Miyako also lost all of her heavy hitters, yeah, the disruptors, after shooting off the Purification Novas. They just got taken out, and now we have a big-ass concave fight here, with even a Colossus just joining the fray, and another Colossus as well, but it seems that Piscolita just have the overwhelming Stalker numbers. Her upgrades are also a little bit better, blinking forwards right into the army of Miyako here. Now the concave is a little bit better for Miyako, but she just doesn't have that many forces anymore. The Colossi is still dealing damage from behind, but now with the blink forward, she just snipes them down. Nothing more left for Miyako. Drops down below 100 supply, and the rest of the army just gets morphed in. More Archons getting morphed in the minute. The 4th base not down yet, and Miyako even had the 5th right behind it, so she could even afford to lose this, but now even has to pull the probes. Doesn't want to give up yet. 10, 13, 14 probes have died so far. More and more units getting in, and the army of Miyako just gets smaller as we speak. Another blink forward just clears off another Stalker. GG, and Piscolita takes the first game. Second map in this best of 5, we're on Overgrowth. And we have Miyako spawning to the bottom left, and Piscolita to the top right. In blue, she leads she's leading 1-0. So let's see if Miyako can tie the series, or if Piscolita can just get further ahead with the help of that game. Both not going for some sort of proxy shenaniganery. Gateway for Piscolita again. Miyako a little bit quicker here, so just a little bit more crisp with her building placement and sending out the probes at the right time in order to plant down these buildings just a step earlier than her opponent. So now finally we have the first probe moving out. Yeah, if this actually had been some sort of proxy build, Miyako would probably realize it too late in order to do something against it, but she opens with a double gateway anyways, so she might even be able to just stop it from happening. So opponent also going for double gateway. So let's see if it's again going to be double depth, or if one player just moves right into Stalkers, because that's what you can actually do. I mean, Stalkers usually counter adepts. On small maps like these, the Stalkers might just be a little bit too late, so you'd rather go into adepts anyways, but yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. First, of course, both players just need a cybernetics core before they can produce either of the units. Miyako just moving around, trying to be a little bit annoying here, or mostly just trying to get some information, but lurking around is always something that's pretty annoying for a Protoss player, when you just see the opponent's probe moving around and you don't really know what it's doing and where it's going to, and if it comes back, and that it just sees everything and you can't really hide anything inside your own base, so it's just free information for that pesky probe. Yeah, that's really annoying. Okay, still waiting for the cybernetics core, and again, Miyako, cybernetics core already done. She goes into adepts first, so wants to deal some more early damage, but same for Piscolita, also opens with the first 2 adepts here. Yeah, like I said, I mean, these adepts could have also been Stalkers. So, and they would be out in time before the adepts arrive. Stalkers actually don't take that much longer to build. than Adepts. So, Piscolita just either sneaking out a probe of herself, or she just wants to scout for proxy locations. Maybe something of both. So, Shades are just moving forwards, and again the same thing like before, so seems as if this time around, but... Oh, okay, that was quite interesting here. So actually Piscolita got the first shot off, but then the Shades just went through. So yeah, okay, Photon Overcharge just gets fired up, just hits the first Adept a little bit, but then they evade the Photon Overcharge. And now we have just 2 Adepts in the back of the base, and Piscolita just has to pull probes, and probes never fight well against the Adepts. But of course Piscolita also has some Adepts on the map. Seems as if she unfortunately just moved them back a little bit, was a little bit uncertain what to do, didn't really know, do I want to go back, do I want to harass my opponent's base, what do I want to do? And then just because she was a little bit undecisive, her units were not at her opponent's base at the same time, so now Miyako has the 2 Stalkers out, should be able to easily clean off these Adepts. Of course, again, has to be careful where these Shades are going to, and now has to just move around, but yeah, Piscolita just doesn't let them finish, wants to save her Adepts for later, but of course no harassment has really been done for Piscolita here, while Miyako already managed to slaughter off 7 workers in the process, and losing 7 workers that early in the game, only having planted down your Nexus while your opponent already has one. Wow, I mean, you're behind like a lot. And this harassment also shouldn't really do anything. 2 Stalkers are out, Photon Overcharge is ready as well. This pylon has only lost mostly shields, so it will probably just regenerate. Yeah, Miyako doesn't really want to fight not underneath the Photon Overcharge, so she just moves back for now. Again, has big tech incoming, even a very early robotics bay. Seems as if this time around she really wants to go into Disruptors early on, I feel. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, yeah, these are 2 Adepts, but now we have 4 Stalkers! Well, only 3 anymore. But the Photon Overcharge as well, and I think that there's not much that Piscolita can do. I mean, her intentions are of course the best, and the only thing she can really do right now, because she knows that she's behind, that her opponent's base has been up for quite some time, while her own is only going to finish in a few seconds. So, of course, she wanted to deal some additional damage towards her opponent. Unfortunately, was not really successful in doing so. And there we have it, the first Disruptor incoming. Wow, and with some early Disruptors and some Stalkers in the mix, this could be a potentially really frightening push here. A really scary push that Piscolita might not even be able to hold. I mean, one good Disruptor shot might just kill off most of these army units, and then the rest could just be dealt with easily. I think that she will probably, after another Disruptor maybe, she will just... no, probably after the first Disruptor she will probably just go into a Warp Prism in order to have some unit she can use to reinforce her own army at the front. For now, just saturating her natural base. It's almost fully saturated, while her opponent is only at 8 out of 16, 7 out of 16 now. So Miyako could even just try to take a 3rd base in the meantime. Okay, just going to go into Blink. Seems as if Miyako just doesn't want to bet on a timing push. Instead, she just waits a little bit, takes a sweet time to get up Blink, to get a few more Disruptors out, and once she's satisfied with the Disruptor count, she will just probably only warp in a few more Stalkers while taking a 3rd base, and then just go for the killing blow. So, in the meantime, just doing some good scouting, sending out probes in order to take the watchtowers, or just at least one watchtower, the one closer towards her own base. She also has a proxy pylon, or a scouting pylon. I mean, it is kind of proxy, but not really. It's like the scouting pylon, so if army units of Protoss would just move down here, this pylon would always tell her in advance, so she would be able to just move her army into the correct position. And the same with this pylon over here, also a little proxy, not proxy pylon, a scouting pylon as well. So these are only there for passive scouting, maybe sometimes even for warp-ins if they are close enough to an interesting location. Dark Shrine for Miyako, while her opponent goes for Templar Archive in order to get the Archons out. So once again, Piscolita seems to not like the new unit of Legacy of the Void, the Disruptor. Doesn't really embrace the possibilities that it gives her, rather wants to play more of a hot style here. Well, actually, there is no hot style anymore since the Colossus got seriously nerfed. and we don't really see Colossus-based play in PvP anymore, because all of the other units just deal too much damage or tank too much damage for Colossi to be really that effective anymore. So yeah, in Hot Sand Wall we would have just seen Colossi, Colossi, Colossi until the big fight, and the one with more Colossi would usually win. Well, of course that's a little bit simplified, but still kind of true. And the Dark Shrine almost finishing. Oh, has almost finished. There it goes. Warp Prism just trying to fly in into the back of the main base. Maybe warping in a few Zealots there. Or maybe Stalkers, because again and again we've seen Piscolita moving in Stalkers for harassment. But we're going to see what it's going to be this time around. First few Archons already being morphed, Observer getting shot down, but again, same problem, Miyako being so far ahead in Echo, and has been for quite some time. Warp Prism just hanging around, not doing anything. Seems as if Piscolita has just forgotten about it for the meantime, and just wants to get her third base up, but Miyako already has had it up for quite some time. I mean, this base is not even done, while the third base of Miyako has already been saturated for quite some time. She will probably even be able to take a fourth base, probably somewhere down here, or maybe if she plans to be aggressive, maybe even up here, or maybe even taking the gold base, since, yeah, why not? I mean, why the hell not? So in the meantime, we have the weapons. There they are, 4 Stalkers. Like I said, I don't really know if I like Stalkers as a harassment possibility, so just barely misses the Warp Prism there. Okay, flies in, but yeah, Stalkers just don't have that much of DPS. They're not that big of a DPS dealer. So, okay, 3 Stalkers being warped in by Miyako, but they mostly have to evade. Okay, Miyako just really wants to get rid of that Warp Prism there. Knows that in the long run, the Warp Prism really is the big problem because of reinforcements. So she knows that if she just kills the Warp Prism, clearing off the rest of the units is just a matter of time, especially with the Photon Overcharge here. So yeah, that's just the wisest decision, and Piscolita just realizes what her opponent is trying to do, loads in the units as soon as possible, and then just goes there. Yeah, like I said, I mean, why the hell not? Yeah? Why would you just take the tucked back 4th if you could just take this 4th as well? And it's almost as far away from the 3rd anyways. So just take the gold base, man. No problem here. Okay, so more High Templars being morphed into Archons. Yeah, both players just sitting back trying to get their desired army comp. And it seems as if Miyako again just wants to throw in a few additional Colossi here just for the reliable AoE damage, it seems. Yeah, she just has 5, actually. Whoa, 5 Disruptors here. So she can just fire Purification Nova's Dragon Balls forever if she wants to. Okay, nice little try, and again, Miyako just realizes the Warp Prism is the most dangerous thing. Blinks in, just kills it. Doesn't matter that she lost a Stalker in the process. Like I said, the important thing is just getting that Stalker. The rest will just get cleared up anyways. Eventually, so no problem. At least Piscolita now knows that the 4th base is already going up, is almost done actually. At the gold base, woo, okay, trying to get the washer. Wow, nice little reaction there, even saving that Stalker with 2 hit points there. Nicely done, but yeah, I mean, the longer this game goes, the more problematic it's going to be. Miyako should just reach her maxed army composition way earlier than her opponent, and once she's maxed, she just move out and kill everything. And I see nothing, actually, I have to say, in Piscolita's army that could really deal with that amount of Disruptors. I mean, if Miyako just failed with all of the Disruptor shots, she might actually have a shot at killing off this army, but with the Disruptors in, she can actually never even engage this army. While Miyako now also has the Colossus in here. Okay, nice little try to get Psystorm out. This could actually kind of work and deal some additional damage if Miyako just never bothered to micro out of storms. I mean, it's kind of her own zoning mechanism. Since she doesn't have Purification Nova, she can just kind of zone out her opponent with Storms. But yeah, Storms just not as frightening as Purification Novas. So let's see. Woo! Small little force by Piscolita. It needs to blink out immediately. But unfortunately blinks out into the wrong position here. And she is not ready to fight that army yet. And I don't think if she ever will be throughout the next 2 minutes here. Oh, okay, Miyako just wanted to warp in a few units, but just phased the Warp Prism back into flying mode. So this is just a scouting Stalker here, gets killed immediately. And it seems as if her opponent just now wants to get in a third base. This is actually kind of an... No, again, this is the choke point. This is really problematic for Piscolita. If she actually needs to fight here, she needs to shove all of her army through that choke point, and the disruptors could just easily kill off everything. Yeah, there's the... okay, tries to get down a storm. Like I said, there's just like the zoning instrument. But yeah, again, I mean, sure, these bases are done, these buildings are done for. Piscolita really needs to let them die. Because she actually needs her opponent to move into the choke point, not herself. Moving into the choke point might be your death, Piscolita. That's not what you want to do. Okay, Miyako even going into Stargates right behind us, so she's already preparing for the next push, realizing that even if this push doesn't work out as intended and doesn't really make her kill the base, she's already on 5 bases now, and teching into the air tech, so she can just slowly transition into it. Yeah, and more disruptors still being behind it. And once this army moves forwards, there's a disruptor shot. Good blink backwards by Piscolita here. So taking no damage here. But again, I mean, like I said, she just can't easily engage this army with all the disruptors around and these big stalker forces. I mean, this time around, Miyako even has the better upgrades. And of course, the... yeah, there it is. Bam, big disruptor shot. Nice blink again. Once more by Piscolita. Another disruptor shot. Another disruptor shot. Bam, bam. These two both hit. And get good shots, mostly killing off the immortals here. So yeah, this base has to die, and then Piscolita is down to 2 bases, and what can she do from there? I mean, she's not even trying to take a base down here in the meantime. I think that would have been a really wise decision, realizing that this base is probably forfeit, so she just needs to get another base up as soon as possible. But yeah, now she just has to take the big engagement, otherwise her opponent would just get into the main base. Nice blink forward here, just being able to kill off almost all of the disruptors, well, only 2. But now I thought she was just firing a disruptor, but it was just a stalker close by that was really low in the red. And yeah, now just losing everything to this force. Her force is just down to 38 to 117. I actually forgot to get this up. It's 86 supplied to 162. The natural base is also going to die. We have some harassment over here, but Miyako just needs to warp in a few Dark Templars that will eventually clear up. I mean, she doesn't even need this base here. She could just easily let it die, but I need you. GG, and Miyako ties the series 1-1. Echo is our 3rd map of this best of 5. We have Miyako to the top left and Piscolita to the bottom right. So, last game, Piscolita just managed to out-macro her opponents and tied the series 1-1. Piscolita won the first game by getting the better engagements and ending up in a very, very nice concave on Habitation Station. So let's see who's going to prevail this time. Gateway and gas for Miyako. Gateway and gas for Piscolita. Just good old standard build. Seems as if both players will just do the same thing once more. I really wonder if we're going to see some sort of cheese this time around or not. Well, with a 1-1, it's really problematic to do some sort of... Or, I mean, it's pretty ballsy to just do some cheese build. If you win, of course, then you will be ahead 2-1, and you need only one more game to close the series. But if you lose, you will only be 1 game away from elimination. So you better think twice if you want to do it. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't want to think twice. Maybe you just want to follow your instincts and do it. But it can cost you. It's a risky thing to do. So, double gas now, plus the gateways, only saturation of 4 probes now, just saturating the things up as the probes come out in order to get the best amount of gas out of these guys here. So we have Miyako just having already saturated her gas geysers, so it might actually go into something more tech heavy, but for now it's just the double adepts for both players. Again, Miyako just getting them out a little bit earlier. Mothership core though a little bit earlier here. For Piscolita, she already has 1 pylon in place and another one as well, so her mineral line is pretty safe. from any harassment here. Although, of course, you still have to be aware that the Mothership Core that early on only has one Photon Overcharge available. So, of course, if you can just sneak by the first Photon Overcharge, you might still be able to deal damage, which Miyako did manage to do in the first game. So, Miyako just sends back her probe, moves forwards with the help of the Shades, and there they are, both again. Miyako this time around getting the first shots off. Might actually just cancel her Shades, no doesn't. Okay, that's actually an interesting choice here. Could have easily just waited with her Shades. Piscolita just interestingly moving around, probably thinks that her opponent's units might actually come in once more, and woo! Miyako even going for more Adepts here. So killing off the first Adept with the next two reinforcements will eventually just get the other one as well, and in the meantime we just have the Adepts right here, and like I said, if you can just avoid that first Photon Overcharge, your Adepts might still do damage, and might just be able to shade around. I mean, Miyako still has two more Adepts on the move. She might actually just want to save that last one as well. Didn't really deal any damage to these Stalkers at all. I don't really think she wants to move in and try to deal more damage. I mean, she already got 5 worker kills. If she loses these two Adepts, though, it would not have been worth it. I mean, I don't really know if she saw the Stalkers here. The vision range of the Adepts was nerfed, but yeah, she just goes in anyways. Okay, Photon Overcharge just getting set up over here, so Miyako just tries to deal as much worker damage as possible. Will not get out of here, no way, especially not if she just moves right into the Photon Overcharge with the real Adept here. So everything just gets killed. 4 more worker kills, so for a total of 9. But I mean, yeah, you can just argue whether it was worth it or not. I mean, 9 workers are a lot, that's 450 resources, while you yourself have just lost 500. The additional damage just comes from the Adepts you killed. Oopsie, sorry Daisy, sorry for that. And so yeah, I mean, you can argue. I mean, it's not the same amount of resources, but just barely. And gas is of course more important and a very more valuable resource. But yeah, that losing 9 workers that early on can just hurt your opponent. But as you see, I mean, it's 26 to 26, so the damage she dealt there was actually only the damage she needed to do with that opening in order to just get herself even with what Piscolita was doing here. And now they actually are kind of even. Both have their bases up. They're just starting to get saturated. Piscolita has a little advantage here because her base is a little bit better saturated than the other. But tech-wise, Miyako just pulls ahead a little bit by already having the Twilight Council and the Dark Shrine going up. So maybe she just actually this time around wants to go for some sort of DT pressure. Piscolita does not have up the robotics facility yet, but is now building it. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, the thing that really speaks for Miyako right now is that she's up ahead in tech, but again, back in workers. So this is actually something that is not all too typical for Miyako. Very uncommon that she's just behind in workers, sometimes forgetting to squeeze out a probe here and there. So Blink almost done for Piscolita. Yeah, it's just the good old same composition for her. Miyako just going for the early Immortals, wants to have some firepower against the typical Stalker-based play of Piscolita here. So in the meantime, just trying to saturate everything. Probes getting pulled into gas speed this time around. Charge for the lots. And the Dark Shrine finishes. So let's see what it's going to be, if she just wants to wait for the DTs for later on, or maybe use them for Archons. I mean, it could be a pretty heavy push with like Archon, Charge Lot, and a few beefy units behind it. Wow, that could actually just crush a lot of compositions early on in the game. So Piscolita trying to take a third base. At least that's what I assume, if she just sends out the probe towards the third base location. First wants to have a pylon down, and then will probably just go into a base. So no, actually she doesn't. So maybe it's just a proxy pylon or scouting pylon or something like that, or she just wants to wait one more warp-in round, or wanted to have one more warp-in round before securing the third. Miyako herself not thinking about a third yet, it seems. Just wants to get charge out, wants to get the Warp Prism out, has some Archons in position as well. So this really seems like a 2-base timing push, with the help of the Warp Prism for reinforcements close to the front line. And there's the Archon, so let's move out, ladies and gentlemen. We can already see these units clumping together, and we should see them move out pretty soon. So here she goes. And, well, maybe no. The Overseer, unfortunately for Piscolita, not seeing what's going on, sees that there's no third base, sees no units moving out. You can see the circle of vision here, it's just a little bit too small in order to see these units moving out. So now Piscolita might just move in, sees a few more gateways here, so that might actually just trigger her. I mean, she's only in 2 bases herself. She has put a lot of resources into army as well, but yeah, this army will... I mean, these sentries will be important. So everything comes just down to good force fields usage, and Piscolita actually is good at using force fields. We've seen this again and again. So let's see how the force fields are. I mean, force fields are almost everything now, but of course Miyako can always avoid the ramp and just move in some DTs, for example, to the main base. So not the best of force fields. Still, Miyako doesn't really want to move into the choke point here, but neither does Piscolita, so she has to be careful not to move downwards that ramp. Has to really stand back around, but she's just placed down that Nexus over here and doesn't want to lose it as well. Does Miyako know about this? No, she doesn't know about that base yet. Has just barely missed seeing it because she never bothered to walk up that ramp far enough. So she just doesn't know about this base going up, which could just be Piscolita's saving grace. But yeah, like I said, Miyako can just always avoid the front and just warp in some DTs back here if she wants to. And there we go. And there's nothing back here in order to defend this, so DTs could just easily wreck this mineral line or even some important pylons that power important buildings. But there are the DTs in, and they are doing their dirty work. And at the same time, she has to be careful that this army is not moving upwards. But now there are Archons in the mix for Miyako as well, so force fields are not longer an option. The rest of the units are moving in. Unfortunately, these speedlots not really able to get close to the units they were actually supposed to get close to. And this Archon, these models actually getting some good shots off of these Archons. Unfortunately, too many big heavy hitters there in the army for Miyako left again. And still a lot of damage dealt by these DTs. Piscolita GG's out, and Miyako takes the 3rd game for a 2-1 lead. It is good old daybreak. And to the bottom left we have Miyako leading 2-1 against the other Protoss player, which is Piscolita. Who is Piscolita? Sorry. So Piscolita now needs to win 2 in a row. That's a difficult task against a player like Miyako. Let's see if she can do it, or if Miyako can close it out. Again, no proxy shenanigans. I would have really guessed that Miyako might go into something like over here at the 3rd base and try to go like into a 4-gate cheese or something. But yeah, then again, it's of course not as easy to pull off anymore due to the HOTS and Legacy of the Void mechanisms that get partly introduced, partly erased again, and then maybe reintroduced or changed. So since all the changes since Wings of Liberty, when this map was first introduced, it's not as easy anymore to 4-gate on this map. Back in the good old wall days, 4-gate was a pretty common standard build in PvP, although there were other possibilities to play and hold a 4-gate and still be ahead afterwards. But yeah, I mean, people would just never expand in PvP just forever. It would just take forever to expand because you could just never afford it, because your opponent could just always overrun you and overwhelm you because you never had something like Photon Overcharge on either pylons or a Nexus, and that just made it a 1-base play most of the time. Piscolita goes for some sort of proxy cheese, and from the location I'd say it's going to be some sort of Oracle play. So I think we're going to see a Stargate here. Miyako already sending her scouting probe along across the map towards her opponent's base. We'll see. Well, it's still 2 gateways and a cybernetics core. So let's see how Piscolita... Well, Piscolita actually has enough to edge out a building here. So there it is, the Stargate, and like I said, it's probably going to be an Oracle flying right into the mineral line of Miyako, maybe killing off a lot of workers here. There are pylons available, and there will be a mothership core out in time, I feel. If, of course, Miyako doesn't forget about it. But yeah, I mean, she sees the buildings, sees the gateways, is not really aware of anything here. and does not really build up anything. Ooh, even moving around with the Stalkers here. So the last few times she actually did the Koshki move and just placed her Stalkers back in the middle line for quite some time, for a little bit longer, until a usual Oracle build would be over. So, and that's what she does again, so never mind. If she just keeps her Stalkers tucked back here, she should be pretty safe from any kind of Oracle play. Yeah, like I said before, we've seen this Koshki and also Poison doing this a lot, just having the Mothership core where one base is, and then the additional Stalkers where the other base is, but this time around we only have one base, so there's no need to protect the other mineral line yet, and thus we just have everything in place in order to fend off any proxy Oracle. And here it goes, but it seems as if Miyako in the meantime has sniffed it out with the probe, was expecting something like that to happen, and now she even finds it. Might even be able to actually kill off that pylon before the Oracle gets out, because it doesn't get chrono boosted. So, ooh, now the chrono boost goes down. Will she just get out the Oracle? I mean, she should know that. Whoa, just barely before the pylon goes down. And the Oracle moves in, but yeah, I mean, the two Stalkers are already in place. The Warp Prism, the Mothership Core is also in place. So no way in hell for the Oracle to deal significant damage here. Maybe shaving off a probe left or right from the photon overcharges, like here, over here, maybe getting one, no, just moving in and getting killed immediately. So not even getting one kill there with the Oracle. Perfect defense by Miyako there. And now even taking out that Stargate here. So that was already a really big investment for Piscolita that didn't pay off at all. I mean, she just delayed everything at home for building off that Stargate that cost her 300 resources, 150 valuable gas. And now she will even also lose the Stargate, will not even be able to use it later on in the game. If she wants to go into Stargate tech once more, she also needs to reproduce it before that. So wow, that just totally went the wrong way for Piscolita here. The only thing that really went for her was that she was able to expand behind it, while actually Miyako was just delaying her own base for quite some time as well. But yeah, she's not even that far in saturation, and Miyako has almost the same amount of workers that Piscolita has. So, Blink on the way for Miyako, as well as the robotics facility. So it's going to be a Stalker and Immortal based army once more. And then we'll see what other tech she wants to use. Ooh, actually it seems as if this time around she wants to go for some harassment using Warp Prisms. So first attack with Stalkers over here. There's only one photon overcharge available, and yeah, might even get the Mothership Core, which will really be a good snipe. And yeah, just Miyako trying to deal a lot more damage with her micro. So maybe like superior Blink micro over here. Blink will be done in just a few seconds, and the Warp Prism will also fly across the map in only a few seconds, and then she will be able to just reinforce her Stalker force. But the same counts for Piscolita. The same, yeah, Piscolita can just do the same, getting more units together. Just gathering more units. That was actually what I wanted to say first. Stalkers just having to wait for the Warp Prism to arrive, unfortunately. Other Stalkers just crossing the map by foot. On foot, sorry. And in the meantime, yeah, we finally have an Immortal out, so a Stalker-based army shouldn't really do that much. Of course, with good enough Blink Stalker Micro and a few more gateways, Miyako might just barely be able to break this. Piscolita already retreating back into her pylons. She has 2 available and a lot of photon overcharges. 3 right now, whopping in more Stalkers here, but also more Stalkers for Miyako. And now we will see if Miyako actually has the superior micro, and if it's superior enough in order to take down the forces here. Has to retreat out of the photon overcharge for now, and now the Blink micro comes into play. Okay, not much damage dealt on both sides so far. Piscolita just is far away from Blink happening. Now the Dark Shrine finished as well, so there's also the possibility for Miyako to get more damage done. Actually, nice! I like this move here with these sentries in there, because both players just have... Oh, that was just... Oh, very nicely done here. Miyako just faked the jump in into the main base, but Miyako tried to anticipate it. Wow, that was just a move of genius here. Sneaky play. Did you see that? Miyako just trying to fake that she wanted to blink into the main base. Piscolita anticipated that move, moved upwards that ramp, and then Miyako just trapped her opponent inside the main base with her own force field, trying to take out everything. Unfortunately, didn't really have enough energy in order to keep her opponent inside the main base for long enough, and eventually Piscolita would have gotten Blink anyways. But yeah, could have done even way more damage there if there hadn't been much more photon overcharges available for Piscolita there. So nice little sneaky move there by Miyako. So in the meantime, she gets the robotics bay up once more, wants to go into disruptors if need be. At the same time, wow, the best timing for her possible, just catches the probe as it wants to throw down the third nexus, while she herself has already taken one and has now the possibility to just saturate it. And again, a great position here for Miyako. Now even loads in some adepts. And what are these? These should be zealots, right? Yeah. Some zealots into the warp prism. Will unleash some havoc back at the main base, but there's a proton cannon in place as well. Ooh, Miyako unfortunately just unloading right above that photon cannon. Yeah, but that's always the stupid thing about photon cannons. Once you unload something and that something can actually attack the photon cannon, then the photon cannon will just no longer attack the air unit. That is something I would have really liked to have, that you can just have a button for photon cannons where you can just say, I prefer air attack, or I prefer ground attack. Just something you can do. Yeah, you can just not switch it on, so just let it the way it is, or you can just switch on that it automatically prefers to attack the air target, or that it tries to prefer the ground target. I think that would just be a nice thing to have for photon cannons here. All the other static defense do it automatically because they can only either attack air or ground. But since the photon cannon can do both, I think it would be nice if, as a Protoss player, you could just choose what it should primarily do, because you really don't have any choice. You need to get just back into the base and then just focus firing something on your own, while, for example, an auto turret will always just keep shooting on the medevac, or at the medevac, sorry. So yeah, this Miyako unfortunately also losing her warp prism over here because she just parked a little badly, and then the mothership core came in and overcharged the pylon as well. So another harassment play by Piscolita here, trying to get some units into the main base. There's not much here to protect it, but there's the mothership core that should suffice completely. There's at least three pylons over here. Unfortunately, no pylon over here. So if Piscolita actually just unloaded here and then used the phase mode in order to just get more units in, yeah, okay, just zealots coming in, being shot down by the photon overcharge here. In the meantime, Piscolita's army has finally taken a spot outside her natural base at the Zelnaga Tower. Might even be able to take a fourth base over here as soon as she wants, because she's almost finished with saturating that base over here. But Miyako has been so for most of the time. But again, I mean, Miyako just being a little sloppy here on the macro edge of things, because she's still on the same amount of supply. Although she applied a lot of pressure, although she has had this third base for quite some time. Okay, Warp Prism unfortunately missing the fourth base going up over here. Will probably not really deal that much damage there. The Stalkers might even blink forward and kill it off. Oh, it seems, yeah, there it is. Okay, it goes off and bam, bam, but it takes 3 shots. But Blink should be available in just a few seconds. Okay, it gets it. Anyways, Piscolita just manages to move out with the units. Wow! And now Piscolita just moved in with a lot of her Stalker forces from the Watchtower. But yeah, Miyako just being in place as well, kills off the remaining forces, and Piscolita has to retreat for now. And again, we have a lot of disruptors for Miyako, just produces some more Archons. And also goes into some Colossi for, like I said, some reliable damage over here. Fourth base will be up in just a few seconds time, while Piscolita has not even tried to get one. Upgrades in favor of Piscolita so far. Will even have 2 in quite some time, in just a few seconds here. So, while in the meantime, Miyako just tries to get out the Colossi and takes a 5th base because she can. Same for Piscolita. Like I said, I mean, Piscolita could easily take a 4th base, but she just doesn't. And I think it will come back to haunt her. There it finally goes down, but not before. Might even probably think that once she sees this, that this might be Miyako's 4th, not even realizing that it's already her 5th. So, Dark Templars getting morphed in, or getting warped in, not morphed in. But that's the problem. If you are a random player and play all the races, then you always mix up these terms of morphing and warping and producing and rallying and whatever. And drones and probes and SCVs. So sometimes you just try to stick with workers, but then it just comes back to you and you just use the wrong term. Okay, Warp Prism flying across the map once more. Seems as if Piscolita just wants to do some more harassment over here. There's not really that much more to harass. Miyako will probably just move these probes over to her 4th base once she realizes that there's, only one more mineral field left. So she does so right now. And now it's only the Mothership Core defending the main base, but there are a lot of pylons around, a lot of photon overcharges available. And we have the big fight in the middle of the map at the 4th base, and this actually is Piscolita's 4th base. So if it dies, that will really throw it back. Now she just tries to take an open engagement. Wow! That was actually a big disruptor hit. Some of these Stalkers actually got away and blinked right before the Purification Nova exploded, but still a lot of damage was taken at that point in time, and Piscolita just goes down to 84 supply. It's 52 to 26 army supply. Miyako just doing the good old Terran thing, stutter stepping backwards, and thus killing off the units that try to chase her off. And now the forces have just diminished for Piscolita. The photon overcharge helps out for a little bit more, but even if Piscolita survives this push, I feel that she won't be able to stand another one. So the only thing that Miyako has to do for now is just retreat for the moment, gather her forces once more, and once she's maxed, for example, or even on 150 or 160 supply, I think she can just easily move out and kill her. I think a second robo would really be a good idea. Oh, never mind. Like I said, a second robo would be a good idea, and she has one. Now even goes into charge. And yeah, that's always devastating. I mean, if your opponent doesn't have anything that does AoE to your ground units, then charge is always a good thing. I mean, even if he or if she does have AoE, charge can sometimes be okay, depending on what kind of AoE it is. So these are probably there for... are these there for Storm? Yeah, she does have Storm. So again, she wants to use Storm as her zoning device, since she doesn't have Disruptors or anything else to zone out the opponent. But yeah, like I said, 150 to 160 supply. Miyako just moves in once more. The army of Piscolita is pretty small. Good Storm there, just hitting all of the army, but yeah, Storm not as effective on focus units. Of course, if you hit a lot of them, and the units just stand right underneath it, it still does a lot of damage here. But it seems as if Miyako just does have way too much. Also having the Warp Prism for reinforcements here. The 4th base is now going to die, and like I said, the 4th base, the critical building in Piscolita's forces. GG's out, and Miyako takes the series 3-1.